Hello, welcome back. As always, I thank you for tuning in and for, well, doing what you do, what you're doing right now. Listening to the message or messages from the Holy Spirit, our inner teacher, which is exactly what's speaking to you right now. This form that you see is nothing fancy. We could all say that. It just takes the form of a middle-aged dude because that's something that we can all recognize, quite simply. And when you think about it, the Holy Spirit, our inner teacher, part of you, let that sink in and embrace it, part of you, not a separate being, but part of you that you're free to choose to listen to, please, and thank you, on behalf of every living thing. Yes, just yes to that. You know what we're saying here. This is a form that we are used to seeing around. Dude in his 50s, got some white hair. Some of that hair has fallen out over the decades. So what? Right? Well, there's nothing special about that. It's a form that we can relate to without plunging off of an existential cliff. In other words, it's a form we can relate to without fear, without heaping additional fear onto what is an already fearful experience. By definition, the fact that we're here believing erroneously that we're individual human beings, yes, that's a mistake, and you know that's true. The fact that we're having this conversation at all is proof positive that we need to hear the message of our inner teacher many times and in many different forms, in many different guises. So, what looks like a spiritual teacher is a form we can relate to without being plunged off of an existential cliff. So here's the thing, the Holy Spirit is not cruel and knows what you can handle. Same with me, with all of us. He knows what we can handle at a given moment and won't give you more than that. So there's no need to fear being plunged off of the cliff, so to speak. If you're not ready to accept truth just as it is, no problem. You will be led as far as you're able to go today. That's all. So, what we're talking about here is very profound. It's about accessing your power. Here in the world, of course, we tend to think of power as power over, as in a government has power over its citizens or subjects. A boss at work has power over their so-called subordinates. What's wrong with that picture? Everything? The very fact that there appears to be a separation is, well, par for the course in the world. We've been talking, and in the most recent video, we talked at length about the power of your own learning capability, your power to learn. There's no greater power in the world. In fact, the world was made by that power, made up, fabricated. Not what we're taught in school. Okay, well, yeah, we're not taught this in school. So we come to this with all of our experience, with all of our baggage, whatever that may look like for you. This course is universal. It's universal in theme. It applies to everyone. It's universal in application. Anyone can do it. Doesn't make any difference where you live on this wobbling, spinning ball of rock, or who you are or are not in your society or your social strata or whatever. Who cares? Who cares what age you are? Who cares your height, your weight, your gender? Makes no difference at all. Doesn't make any difference at all what your spiritual or religious background is, if any, nor does it matter in the slightest what you're currently doing on your spiritual journey. If anything, who cares? You're here right now. That matters. This is a self study curriculum. We allow ourselves to be led by our deep internal guidance, our inner teacher, the Holy Spirit, as far as we're willing, mm, willing to be led on a given day. And then we get up the very next day and we do the exact same thing. There may appear to come different experiences, but the centrality, the point, the content, as the Course puts it, of the lesson is always the same. It's only the outward form that appears to differ. So you may see different kind of messengers that look like this, or they may be female, they may be older, they may be younger, they may be a lot better looking, right? Doesn't matter. It's the content of the message that matters. You know that's true. The outward form is just that. It's form. It's superficial, and God doesn't do form. It's said here, and famously in A Course in Miracles, God knows not form. He does not recognize it. So if you're thinking, what about in Genesis when it said God made the world? Hmm. Knows not form. We made that. It arose quite naturally from our thought that we could even be separate from God in the first place, which we are not and cannot be. You know that's true. Doesn't mean that you have to accept it right now. In fact, you may be really ready to throw something at your screen. Well, don't break it. You'll break your device. And you can't hurt this. It's nothing. Huh. Here, while we appear to be here as these things that we've referred to as human beings, while we appear to be here, we have a choice. And while we appear to be here, choice is meaningful. We talked a moment ago about our power to learn. There's no greater power in the world. In fact, the world was made by that power to learn. Now, having convinced ourselves that we're individual self sustaining survival units, we can unconvince ourselves. We can set that notion aside for all time. Do you want to? Are you willing to? Because there are exactly two lessons that we can learn. Here in the world, we've got everything split up into different academic subjects and different genres and this and that, one separation after another, multiple genres of everything, many different categories and subcategories, all fabricated and completely made up. by a mind that wishes to believe it's separate from its source. Capital S, please, and thank you. Not separate from its source. And let's all be very glad of that. In a manner of speaking that we can all relate to, it gives us some home to go back to. Here's the thing, we've never left. Because we're not this. We're not our nationality, happily. Yeah. Even if you happen to love where you are. Okay, great, fantastic. We're not our social status, nor our height, our weight, etc. So there are exactly two lessons that we could learn. One, God's Son is guilty. Oof, all right. Two, the alternative, God's Son is guiltless. God's Son is innocent. God's Son has never separated from his source, capital S. We could learn that instead of learning that we're guilty of separating. When we attempt to convince ourselves that we're separate, we see ourselves as tremendously guilty. In fact, we're overburdened and saddled with deep unconscious guilt for having thrown away the kingdom of heaven, which is what we think we've done. We have not. It's impossible. We've managed, however, to make it real to ourselves and convince ourselves that, yeah, this is our lot. Sucks, doesn't it? This our lot, our plight. No, it's not. Now, there may be a lot going on in your life that you're quite literally powerless to change. There may be political events going on around you. Right? There may be economic events that you would love possibly to impact but can't as a practical matter. Yeah, of course. What you can do is change your mind about all of it. That's powerful, and that's what this course is all about. It's not about changing the economic system. It's not about regime change. If you want regime change, okay, great, right? This course isn't about that. It's not about attempting to bring any of that about. It's not about effecting change in the world because it posits very clearly as its central teaching, there is no world. We're perfectly at home in God, remember? What world? That's form. God knows not form. And it, yes, most certainly requires repetition. And you may not believe it. And that's okay, isn't it? I mean, of course it's okay. It's part of our process. It's part of the path to experience these moments of doubt and resistance. Count on it. If you have not experienced resistance, stick around. You're going to. Know that it's the ego that resists. It's this urge that we've chosen to listen to and that we give into willingly time and time again to think that we're separate and things are going to be different this time if we just get a hot new romantic partner or if we just move here or get this job or buy this brand of clothing, whatever, right? And when we're still suffering, we have an alternative. We could choose the guidance of the Holy Spirit. We could choose to be shown that God's Son is guiltless, innocent, has never sinned. There is no sin because there's no separation of any kind. Think about that. If you ever sat through a tedious and long Sunday school lesson as I did when I was a kid in the United States, no less, in a fundamentalist, rather fundamentalist church. Isn't our way is the only way? Yeah, the building across the street, yeah, no. That kind of prevailing attitude, one that we all know too well, yeah, no matter where we're from. As I sat there, I found myself not believing any of those ideas, thinking, well, there's no way. There's no way, none, that perfect love, i.e., God, and we were rightly taught God is love, yes. Yes, not the love that we think of in the world, which is a special relationship between two people, hot, sexy, romantic weekend at the beach or something like that. And then you go to work exhausted on Monday morning and pine of doing it all over again on Friday. Right? No, not that. No, not at all. God knows not form. And God is love, completely unconditional. It's all that is. God is the only reality. God is the only reality. Not something we learn in biology class, is it? No, it's not. I found myself thinking, how could perfect love condemn? Now, wait a minute here, right? If God is love, perfect love, how can there be discrimination and hatred? How can there be favoritism? How can God choose a certain people and not others? Hmm, what's wrong with that picture? Oh, everything, as you well know, everything. It's not true. So, you don't have to have had that experience. I mean, there were plenty of times where I chose to speak up and ask that question, and never once received what I considered to be a satisfactory, i.e., honest answer. I guess the most honest answer, and it is an honest answer really when you think about it, is, you know what, I don't know, which I got a lot. I was sometimes shouted down and cast and labeled as a sinner who deserves punishment and must expiate himself for daring to think that perfect love can't discriminate. We see this play out writ large in the world all around us here in the United States. We're surrounded by it, as you well know, no matter where you're from. Big drama makes world news, doesn't it? And this plays out no matter where you are. You could be from a relatively peaceful and stable nation or region that's not experiencing the political and social upheaval that the United States is currently experiencing. That could be. Here's the thing. The upheaval, which appears to be playing itself out in the world around us, is in our mind. Hmm. Donald Trump is in our mind. Vladimir Putin is in our mind. Mm. Now, that doesn't necessarily go over well, does it? Doesn't have to. Remember, our power of learning is so vast and so strong that we've made this world, including all of the conflict in it. It's going on in our own minds. So when we forgive, as directed by the Holy Spirit, and as we learn to do here, as we study and practice A Course in Miracles, we're forgiving the content of our own mind. We're forgiving our own mind's miscreation, which is powerful when you allow yourself to get it. Anything, any thought, any experience that is not 100% perfectly joyful is an opportunity. You could choose to see it that way, and I hope you do. It's an opportunity to forgive. So, of the two lessons that we could learn, one is much stronger than the other. You know which one that is. God's Son is forever guiltless, innocent. That is a pull that we feel at all times. You've felt it or you wouldn't be here, and you're going to continue to feel it, whether you come back and view more of these videos or not. You're going to continue to feel it because you're hearing it now, articulated in a way that perhaps you've always known. Or maybe you've heard this pixelated image on your screen say this, appear to say this multiple times. That doesn't matter. There are over 1,000 of these videos, and as long as the pixelated image continues to appear to be here in the guise of a middle-aged man, there will be many, many more. So you'll have the opportunity, no matter whether it comes from this channel or anywhere else, to hear this over and over again. And we need that as adult learners, but we can choose. And the call to awaken, the call of the Holy Spirit, is much stronger than the ego's little shriekings. However loud they may be, however pretty they may look at any given moment, our call to awaken is much stronger, as you well know, or you would not be here. So I thank you very much for being here and for taking these past few minutes out of your busy day or your evening to listen to the message or messages from our inner teacher. And what has hit you? I don't know. You'll know that. We're about to wrap this video up. So there's been something over the course of this time that you're meant to hear. So you're invited to act on that. Listen to the guidance of our inner teacher, relax and trust, and go forth and forgive. Go forth and extend love. Go forth and recognize that all of this is happening in our mind. If it's unpleasant to you, it's an opportunity for forgiveness. And we have many, many such opportunities every day. Okay. Thank you again for tuning in. This is the subscription prompt, that arrow here in the corner of your screen. Click that and you'll be invited to join us. And there are a handful of videos that appear every week. Our spiritual practice isn't going anywhere, so to speak. So it's not a one video and done type of thing, as we all know. Okay, so thank you, and I will talk to you soon.